G'day punters, welcome back to a session of the Punters Academy. Good morning, John Walter. Good to be back in the saddle after a short hiatus.
Mate, you look fresh. You look fresh, and you've picked up a wombat suit from Vietnam, and you're back and you're ready to go.
Indeed. No, it was a cracking place that we went to, and the people are just so friendly, and highly recommend it. So thanks.
Good timing to have a little break too. It's literally just kicking off, isn't it? All the good horses coming back.
Oh, the winter and those early races for sure, and perfect weather. We had 35-degree temperatures every day. Humidity was reasonably high, but not too bad. Just hot, but fantastic. Good to be back. Indeed. Okay, so Randwick Saturday, rail was 3 meters, I think, from memory.
Yes.
And track raced, they posted as a dead 5, bang on. So stewards did a fantastic job of getting that right. The course proper races perhaps a touch slower, but not by much. Look, in terms of pattern, obviously inside was pretty much cast, and down the middle seemed to be the place to be. You could sit wide on the day. Any other read on that, John?
No, I think they, after the first couple of races, which were actually run at a good speed, they all shit themselves, which, the second race the winner was very good, sort of sitting outside leader and did get to the middle, but ran well. I think maybe the roughie in the first scared them a lot, and they all sort of allowed the leaders to dictate for most of the card. After, I think they probably were scared off by, the roughie coming down the middle in the first, but that offset the pattern a little bit. But other than that, I think you're dead right. Fencing run was not great.
No, and the winners certainly posted what looks to be a clear new peak for it. Poker Jack. So we can watch this race, John, and above average tempo early. They didn't quicken up again to a solid tempo at the 600. You've got that vision there.
That ready to go.
Okie doke.
Classy highway.
Classy highway.
So they did run good time overall. And the winners definitely it's sort of been going around, have had quite a few runs this prep and been up on speed and looked a bit, like a speedy squib sort of type. And here it's sort of 3 wide with cover ridden back in the field and explodes. It's pretty hard to explain it.
So Optimo was the stewards report horse here. And, I'd suggest punters, if you haven't looked at it already, go back and take a look at the essay that you'll see regarding Nash's ride there. What are your thoughts, John?
This part, probably this is the part that you can defend him the most. Like, the horse was back from 1,400 to 1,100 here, so I thought that was a huge positive on how the horse profiles. But it is understandable that you watch him; he's on the inside. He does try and hold somewhat of a position early for a few strides, and the horse doesn't have that early speed. Which, okay, there's nothing Nash can do about that. But it's from that position on where he just sort of doesn't attempt to stay in touch with the field at any stage, and very frustrating for those people who backed it here. Like, just no attempt to try and hold the back. Like that Jalmari's in front. I think he's got 2,000 metre form. So for it to be sort of 3 lengths detached from it was a bit crazy. They are running along, but I think he was entitled to try and show a bit more urgency to get into the race a bit earlier. And as it turns out, he probably did get to the right part of the track with a little bit of pace assistance, and that may have flattered his performance a bit. But, it's a hard one. It's a hard one to explain.
Yeah, the winners, as we've mentioned already, has gone has gone to a new peak, and that leader there who went too quick in front stopped like been shot at the 200. Don't know what there is much to say about the race, John. I've got nothing to take out of it, really.
Yeah, I tell you, like, reviewing wise, you can definitely be very forgiving of all, like, they're going fast in what turned out the wrong part of the track. So forgive. To a certain degree, they've done something. They're up on speed. Even Dollar Magic 3 wide up on speed. There was one complete forgive this horse here. Robage is 3 back the fence. Copped some pretty bad interference in a little bit here. Andy Adkins looking for a run. First up from a spell here. This is the same trainer of Sir Ravanelli, the poor bloke. Holy heck, he must be going insane. There it is, copping a really bad check. And tries to get to the middle, can't get there, sort of cuts back towards the inside late and makes a bit of ground. So, complete forgive for Robage. Here it goes. back towards the sort of slow section. So it was the dead set Forgive in the race. Sir Bandy's Boy first up, forgiving a bit. It was just sort of cast wide, did jump well, and this horse participated, did nothing, got to the middle and ran on, but it was first up as well. I think it'll be all right, the form. It's just highway form, though. There's nothing stand out.
Yeah, race 1 on today. Okay, race 2 to 2,400 metre, 78. Above average tempo here, John. We saw the winner do a reasonably good job there, sitting outside lead. And what else do you want to say about the race?
Yeah, not much to learn. I didn't think Mon Felicity ran second, like a really clear second, and probably just felt the pinch jumping from 1,800 to 2,400. It's always a big pearl of like sort of a Mark Lamborghini sort of pearl of horses that have had a run at the 2,400 have seemed to have a really big edge over those who haven't. When you get to this sort of distance range, and this horse jumping from the 18 to the 24, whereas the winner had a better grounding. But yeah, like literally sits outside a fast tempo, puts him to the sword, extra work to sort of get off the fence to the middle, does that, runs away from him. Mon Felicity had that sort of rails run, got to the best part, had the cold sit on it. And I think she would have beat him if had the bit more fitness base, but I still think the winner's run probably would have been better regardless. Like it's hard to knock the winner. It's gone like a jet.
Has gone good. That 4th horse there, was it Kidsville? Ellen Hennessy,
Yes.
Hennessy, I should say. He covered obviously a stack of ground there, and it looked like she was going to fall off there halfway down the straight.
Yeah, and made a bit of an early move at one point too, and then it was a good run for a horse that was sort of 20 to 1 or whatever in the race. It was probably the Forgive or have a look where it ends up, because I think it is eligible for easier races too. So it's probably the sleeper in the race if there was one.
Leaders bled, so it's out for 3 months, isn't it?
Which one?
So United.
Oh, it bled. Okay, well that makes sense. Yeah. It was too bad to be true. So even though it set a fast tempo, you'd expect it to kick on a little bit better than it did. So that makes a lot of sense.
Okay, so let's move on to race 3, the Midway, and we saw the winner finish off in pretty quick sections here, John, after sort of an average to then below average tempo at the 600 metre mark.
Yeah, this is a putrid race on paper, and I don't think it was much better in reality. Bazooka was sort of the best set-up horse to be strong, but got cast wide nearly, I think, the whole way. I think it sort of rolls forward after getting back here, keen, and sort of ends up a little bit further forward as they pulling itself into the ground, whereas Scorched Earth gets its back. Yeah, I find it very hard to make excuses for too many horses here. Remus is back here. It's one of the horses I kind of like as an undervalued horse, and it was sort of lucky to run third the way it came down. There was just it's just a bit of a nothing race for me. These Midways should not be on Saturday cards for mine. This is not a good exponent for it either.
Riding Unexpected and Coppersonic both lost a plate there, so maybe, Forgive runs for them. But Bazooka's, not a horse of mine, and just doesn't have the figures to sort of justify a lot of the prices that goes around for my way of thinking. Other than that, as you say, pretty ordinary race.
Very well placed, the winner, isn't it? Like, I think it was coming out of Tamworth form or something like that, and that shows you to me what the Midway races are like. Midway back to Wednesday grade doesn't even really line up strongly. Midway to Saturday grade doesn't at all, and you can nearly they've done well to pull. It's been going well in country sort of openish class races.
It has been. It's certainly its best preparation. It did drop, 7.5 kilo or something.
Yes.
And went from Madeline Owen to T Sherry. So, some bonuses there. It actually came, well in the market in terms of the early automatic figures that I've got. Finished its last 200 off very well. Ran 6th best last sectional 200 rating of the day. But the race itself, I suppose, was no real contest given the pace.
No. Next,
let's get into the next race, which is race 4, the mile race here as well. Below average to slow tempo again. Niffler given a good ride by Jay McDonald.
Yeah, it's a shame. The two probably other leaders in the race, or pressure horses came out, and that sort of left it a bit of a race that could be run at a leisurely tempo. I didn't probably think it would be run this slowly, but I don't think Niffler's a horse that's a real sit sprinter either. But it just sort of had the wood on those behind it. Just had too big a margin to run them down. Poor horses like Casino Lad and even Opacity. I thought the ride on Opacity was a little bit too patient, just sitting that extra 2 or 3 lengths off Niffler when it was really slowly run race. Could have sort of slid around. I didn't think 3 wide. See here, rather than fighting the horse, it gets quite keen. Opacity could have dead set slid up around and been probably a length in front of Niffler instead of 2 behind it. Just an observation in a really slowly run race. I think if J-Mac was riding Opacity, see it here, just getting really keen, I think rather than wait, he would have just whipped around and put the pressure on Niffler to either pop or whatever and made it a true race. And I think that was a bad ride on Opacity, and poor old Casino Lad's just a victim of his racing pattern, and they're going okay. All 3 going okay.
Equation there on the inside for Gibbet. It just wasn't suited there. So I wouldn't be riding it. That was its first run back, wasn't it, this prep?
Yeah, and I think a lot of these horses are real one-pacey sort of type. So, and I think Equation's in that mould as well. So back on the inside in a sit sprint, certainly against it. I actually think most of these horses are going quite well, and even Fun Fact's probably been flattered a bit by the tempo, but I think all of these horses are going well enough if placed well to run well. I just think that the 3 turn of foot, or I don't see Niffler as a turn of foot horse, but just a good ride and Johnny on the spot. These 2 are probably the turn of foot horses were suited. The rest are all a little bit one pace, so the tempo hurt them.
Yes, indeed. Let's move on to race 5, the Show County, over 1,200 metres, below average tempo here. Showmanship got the job done, and another good ride there, J-Mac, and it's pretty much gone to its best, or close to it. Indeed, prime candidate, not quite for it. Rocketing By was a decent run under circumstances, and even maybe Special Reward was much better second up, but still will be suited over longer.
Yeah, just won by default, didn't it? I think prime candidate, it's gone every inch as well as it possibly can. The race has panned out absolutely perfect. Probably outside leader was better than leading on this day. They've gone, at a controlled speed, and it's had every possible chance. The 2 behind it are first up, and they've only gone fair. And Showmanship was a good ride, just got to the right part at the right time and held them off, and pretty much won by default. You got King of Sparta pulling itself into the ground back in the field there, and Rocketing By, who's just given away too big a start, and they've all 3 of them got to the right spot. I thought Special Reward, they might be a bit more urgent out the gates and try and ride it forward, just because it had that fitness edge. Didn't work out for it, but Electric Girl back on the inside first up, forgiving. Thought it was a bit of a nothing race, though.
Yeah, total forgive King of Sparta and Special Reward. I think it needs to 1,400 metres.
Yeah, and it's had 2 average rides. It's 2 rides back. It's and that Halal, it came with Halal first up, and Halal came out and improved quite significantly, I thought, in the Group 1 later, even though it was a slow run race. Yeah, I think it's an intrigue. It's definitely got more up its sleeve if it has things go its way.
Anything else out of that race, Tom?
That race, I didn't really think so. I just thought, I think you'll struggle to find a race for prime candidate that was better than that. Rocketing By gets back. Vanderpeer had its chance. There's just King of Sparta. They're all not horses to follow sort of horses, and they're not those sorts of candidates. If anything, maybe, Electric Girl, but it's as in just forgiving, not wanting to follow it.
Yeah, okay, let's move on to the Premier's Cup over 2,000 metres, above average tempo, slowed down a little bit by the time they got to the 600, but still at least average. Arapaho gets the job done. Francesco Guardi, that's 2 starts now, it's back to the inside and inferior ground. The horse is absolutely flying. I wouldn't be sort of sacking it at all. Grove Ferry, what did we say about it? It sort of seemed to go backwards a little bit, too much to bear. Perhaps not the best ride there by Kieran. What else have we got to say in this race? I think it's a bit, Chalk Stream, of course, a horse that missed it by about 10 at the start. But Arapaho got punters again.
Yeah, it's a weird. It's another one that's just hard to explain. This horse is hard to explain for mine. The differences between its best and its worst. And in this race, if you told me Arapaho was going to be second last, and they were, not going to, they've gone a steady tempo, haven't they? Like a steady, solid tempo. They haven't gone crazy and slowed down. So if you're going to tell me it was going to run past this field, I'd tell you you're completely mad. And it kind of did it quite well and quite easily. Yeah, got a little bit keen in the run, but tracked up like it was going to win. As you say, Grove Fairy shot 3 in front and looked the winner and looks to have knocked up, if anything. And I don't know whether it needs further or shorter. I can't really work it out or what the heck Grove Fairy is, because it probably should have kicked on. It's just a bit of a weird race. Like it's hard to work out how this Arapaho can sit back, give 8 lengths to the leaders and round them up.
Best part of the track, clearly, John.
Yeah, but the others got there, didn't they? Like, look at it was dead set bolting, and it's come off its back, and Too Much to Be Okay had a little bit of a tough run. Lord Ardmore's, not too close to the inside. At least has its chance. This poor old Willie Pike, they're going to have to bin him soon. I'd say that Hawks will pull the pin on him, and Waller won't give him too many opportunities. And then I know that he came out later in the day and rode Zugotcha the same way and won, but that was a 1,400 metre, was it? A 1,200 metre fillies race, nothing ready. They've absolutely walked it, sprinted up a furlong and sprinted home well. It's very hard to compare those two sorts of race, like a solidly run 2,400 and you're putting 2,000 and putting your horse back to the worst ground for no real reason. Compared to Zugotcha, it seemed like a bit of a one-liner to try and defend his ride there, but I think he's riding pretty fairly at best, Willie Pike.
Yeah, look, I think he's better suited at the provincials, but over in the eastern states. But yeah, that's just my opinion, but probably shared by many. Okay, let's move on to what have we got? The Toy Show Quality over 1,100. Average tempo here, John. The fresh horse for the blue colours got the job done. Good ride, Rachel King. Jamea ran some nice sectionals. Sky Command there. What's that deep? Boom Nova. Couldn't understand it being 4-1.
Yeah, I was the same. I sort of opposed it. It was never going to get a soft time, and it just probably didn't look good enough. I thought there was a good run, and softish tempo. I think they really zipped home, and this horse Sky Command, which would drive more people mad than not, sort of misses the kick here, and the yellow and black scrubbed up. Usually a really keen going horse, and I was quite excited to see because I thought it was a very poor ride. Jamming the heck out of it early. And here it looks like it's going to charge and maybe go to the front and drive everyone crazy again. And it sort of comes back under him, eventually gets bobbed out for second. Thought it was a really good return. Obviously, we're saying that 3 wide was not too bad on this day, but just a good return from a horse that's shown previously. It's a bit of a lunatic, and I thought this was a better performance. Jamea just given way too big a start to these horses, and Zapateo just got the absolute dream run, gets the split, gets to the right part, and nothing could have gone more right for it. But still, like, super strong through the line, wasn't it?
Yeah, Chills bled here, John. So
that's it, back on the inside. Yep. Bye Chilled.
Yeah, Jamea obviously just set too big a task, but really, I mean, that was a good run for it over the 1,100, which it's not suited over. Yeah.
It's interesting that form that just keeps sort of popping up. It'll be interesting to see where Marzu gets to this prep, because I remember these two sort of tangling each other early in the prep last time, and they're just similar horses, They're just really good at parking themselves off speed, and I just love the way they just extend through the line. I would be surprised if it wins a good race this time in this Zapateo, and it's just clearly better than this lot, I think. Interesting to see where it gets to.
Yes, okay, let's move on to what was a good race, I think, given the slow tempo here. Animo in the Group 1 Winx Stakes, probably at least 4 or 5 pounds short of a Group 1, I thought, but anyway. Let's roll tape here, John, and talk about some of these.
Yeah, just a no race, wasn't it? Like, you got Halal after couldn't keep up first up, is now leading a Group 1. Very strange. Forbidden Love, who's clearly not racing anywhere near its best, outside lead, a little bit keen but disappointing again. Hinged up there, looked like it was going to drop out at the 600 and came again on the line Benno was arguably the strongest with what's the other horse? The Stayer, what's the Stayer called? Sportsman. What's it called? Stockman. So Stockman gets to the right part of the track and looks super strong. Benno looks strong up the inside. In a sit sprint weight for age race, it's very strange to have the 2,400 metre horses looking the strongest on the line. Big worrying signs for me over this race in general. Anamo's obviously a very good horse, ridden a little bit closer than probably wanted to be, and cuts back to the inside, does a few things they probably wouldn't do normally, and had a bit on them. But there's got to be worrying signs over this race for me overall. So
you're potting the race and I'm wrapping it. There you go.
I'm potting the race. I'm saying Anamo was ridden upside down, and I'm saying that horses like Benno and Stockman have run very well for 2,000 plus metre targets down the line. Fangirl maybe back to fillies and Mesgrave. It just scares me that this is Group 1 weight for age form is what I'm saying. I know that that's often the case.
It's not Group 1.
No, that's it. And that's like you got Profondo that's first up. That's, he rode it horrifically. Sort of sat wide pulling the whole way. No idea why they didn't want to be a little bit more positive with it. It looked like a race that they had to have a crack at, and they sort of just threw it away. What do you do with the race? I'd treat it as a barrier trial for all of them.
Profondo did well. It's certainly put that last prep behind it.
Yeah, I think if it was ridden more aggressively, it would have been in the finish. If they had given it a dig out with Forbidden Love, maybe it would have sat outside Forbidden Love. It would have been forced to go to the front. Halal probably wouldn't have led, and it would have been a different race. Hard to say. Like Anamo's quite dominant, I guess. And Profondo certainly did look like it got tired, but it went well enough.
Indeed. Okay, let's get on to the Silver Shadow over 1,200 metres for the fillies. Below average to slow tempo, and we saw Zugutcha perform pretty well.
Some poor Reddited bloke found it at 40s. You know what I had? My only little Hail Mary bet on Wednesday, $100 on $16 Profondo into $38, I think, this winner. That would have been handy for a poor little battler bet, but Profondo no joy. But yeah, just had the perfect run, this horse. Had a little bit better fitness base than most, I think, and that's what got it home. Pretty ugly race.
Blue colours there, no secret. In secret, no lucky it. And Opal Ridge, I mean, it's
oh my God.
It's covered a bit of ground there.
Oh my God. I know he's down in the weights and it's pretty hard. Like the depth in the jockeys is just such a nightmare. This poor horse has just copped absolute butcherings the last two starts from two different jockeys, I believe. Not much could have it's hard to say with this one because where does he go, But just a shame because the horse is airborne and this was probably its chance, this prep to win a nice race or be in the finish and ran well. No joy. There was the horse in the aqueous colours here. You can watch it right now. Is it Midnight in Tokyo? Just nearly goes to the line hard held. Never really gets a chance to build its revs at all. What do you do with the rest of them? I actually thought North Star Lass was quite good first up. I don't think it's a sit sprint type, and I think it sort of battled on well, and it's probably heading to a race like the Flight Stakes, whereas most of these horses won't get a mile. I think this horse will. So I think it's worth following North Star Lass heading up in distance.
Well, there you go. That's one from you.
Yeah, there's another one out here, sorry. This is the thing from New Zealand. What I like about North Star Lass is it's back towards the inside a bit more. I'm just a little bit scared that they were in better ground out here. But Wolverine, it's got mile form back in New Zealand as well too. It'll be interesting, as will Seven Veils going forward. But I thought North Star Lass is the one. I love the on-speed milers.
Yeah, I'm not convinced about it over more ground, Wolverine, but time remains to be seen on that one. Wolverine, yeah.
They're the two I would want to see again, whereas North Star, it's the one I want to be with.
I suppose for me, the forgive is Opal Ridge out of that race.
Too easy?
Okay, and on to the last, the 1,200 metres 78, average tempo here, good ride, H. Bowman. Certainly was very focused.
Yeah, I think he's just so good on certain horses, isn't he, Bowman? And my God, he gets the needle eye runs that could easily have not come. But horses like this, and the beauty of when he's ridden them before, he kind of knows the horses that he can apply pressure to, the ones that he can't, the ones that are, better off being left alone, ridden for a bit of luck. And, I'm not defending his ride on Frumos or anything like that, but this is a similar ride to Frumos for mine. Instead of trying to sort of persevere, go back and go 10 wide, which he could have done, he trusts the horse and that it's, can take the gaps they came this time. And he looked like a genius and the horse won well. I guess it's probably the flip side to the Frumos ride.
Yes. And anything else to take out of this race, John, for you? Cisco Bay, I suppose, was totally unsuited here, but
pain for me that I was on arbitration here and I was counting it in the run and just thought it was going to let down and win, and then it went one pace and Pizarro picked it up and threw it away. That was the only other real thing that happened. The one on the right on the inside, what's it called? I always get them confused. May Rose, is this May Rose? What's it called? Yeah, it's May Rose. I thought it was just I thought it trialled really well, but maybe a bit too well. I think there's a race in this horse back up right on the inside. May Rose this prep. We're keeping an eye on it.
Righto, and how did you and Jason fare over the weekend?
Yeah, Zugotcha was mine. It was like $26 or $21 or something when we did the review. So it was a good result for us out of that. Not sure how he went in Melbourne because I actually didn't have a look at it too closely, but I think it was sort of hammered by scratchings too. I think the horse that he really liked was in the 1,000-metre race, and he was potting the favourite heavily there that got beaten, that Jamie Carr was on, but the horse he really liked came out as well. Like it was scratched, so I don't think any damage. And we did okay. We did miss you though, we missed you. Pretty
rough set of results there at Moonee Valley for punters.
Yeah, but as I said, it's just wasn't a bad meeting to have a couple of scratchings and bypass. I think they're good races come back this week, and I think they've got a couple of Group 1s, maybe at least one.
Memsey at Caulfield on Saturday looks like a cracking race. Some interesting, I suppose, angles there, I think. And once we get final field, we'll obviously cover that this week. And what else we got? Well, I suppose we've got a very special guest coming up after this, John, and we'll do that as a separate live stream. I
appreciate you giving me 37 seconds to prepare. That's great. You're keeping, when he says special hidden guest, he means it. There was a secret squirrel hidden guest, but
it'd be good. In the cupboard.
Exciting. No, it's exciting. So it's good. Did you have any horses to follow?
I did. Look, I'm still pretty keen on that race, the Animo race. I think Animo's obviously come back extremely well and can go forward. Profondo, I think, with that 2-run prep last prep out of its way, and it looks like it's back to its best. Benno's run was obviously very good, and I can understand what you're saying about your concerns there, and Stockman's run was very good.
I'm not. I think the race is not much good, but it'll definitely be a huge feeder race. And when I say not much good, it doesn't really matter on the day. Whereas those horses, I agree, they're all going to different targets. And when I say I'm treating it as a barrier trial, I kind of, like very good barrier trials from a few of them. So, yeah, I think you've identified the ones that look like they've returned in good form. And the beauty of it being like a low rating race, potentially, is that maybe it will be overlooked a bit.
Yeah, maybe. I thought a special reward was the other horse that, it just needs to get a decent ride and get into the right sort of race for it. For sure, I think it can win a race this preparation. It'd be interesting to see what they do with it going forward. I suppose now 1,400 metres is next for it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, North Star Lass is my big one.
North Star Lass. Okay, we'll just mark that down.
Flight Stakes, get on. Well. $26 Flight Stakes, get on.
Yeah.
All right, no worries. That's it. So we'll be back we'll cut off now, right? And then we'll come back to.
We'll come back and have our little feature in a moment, and in the next 15 minutes or so, and we'll go from there. Punters, thank you to Top Sport, of course, our sponsor. And punters, of course, if you don't have a Top Sport account, make sure you contact Tristan, get yourself set up. You'll always get a fair bet. The minimums apply from the time they go up. And of course, we'll get into some more detail about some of those minimums and the fact that they're greater on some of these New South Wales races as we head into the carnival time. And of course, Rapid Fire will be here on Thursday. I'll be on deck again we'll be featuring the Mamsie and a few other races, I'm sure. Thanks, punters.
Cheers.